What's the best bank for my business? This is a common question that I hear either from the comments that I see here on YouTube or from clients whenever we are taking them on. In this video, I want to share with you 5 questions that you want to ask yourself before you decide to either open up a business checking account, before you decide to or try to apply or open up any type of business lines of credit or business credit cards, and before you continue down that path, especially if it leads to a dead end. So I would rather find out if something's not going to work sooner rather than later, which is why I'm making this video for you. At the top is, are the products actually good? And so this is going to be dependent. This is the filter that you have to run it through, because if you're watching this from the standpoint of an e-commerce business, then the type of products, meaning business credit cards, business lines of credit, whatever it is that you need for your business, is going to be totally different from somebody who runs a real estate fix and flip type of business. I'll tell you firsthand, whenever we're working with clients, we start to audit some of the accounts that they maybe already have if they're coming in with more seasoned accounts. And we start to see, hey, like, have you actually done your due diligence on the type of funding options that this financial institution actually has? And they say, no, I just opened it up because they were by the house, or I opened it up because this is just like, I've been banking with them since college. But then when we start to kind of peel the onion back, we start to see, like, can you actually use like a business credit card for this type of purchase? Or can you actually use a business credit card for a down payment? Can you actually use a business credit card for the type of payroll that you're looking to cover? They say no. Like, the inverse is true also for an e-commerce business. We'll talk to a business owner who is in the e-commerce space, and we say, hey, do you actually need a revolving business line of credit at least right now? Or can you work with a 0% business credit card to at least get things rocking and rolling for the inventory, the supplies, the materials that you need? And so these are questions that you want to ask yourself, which are hopefully answers that you already have as a business owner of how you actually conduct business, because you're going to be able to nip in the bud fast, which is why I have it at the top, is, are these products actually going to serve me and what I'm looking to get out of the business and what I'm looking to do? Number 2 is their lending appetite. And so now that we're on the subject of e-commerce and of real estate fix and flip, not every financial institution is going to work with every type of industry. This is one of the most common mistakes that I see with business owners when we're helping them, is we'll just go ahead and open up any bank account with anyone that takes me in because they took my money and I was able to open an account with them. But when they try to go in and they try to ask for something as simple as a business credit card, they get denied. The reason for that is because we haven't done our due diligence on checking the lending appetite. Every financial institution, every bank is going to have their own LA, their own lending appetite. And so what that means is, I want you to think of it kind of like a pie chart. And so if you've ever invested into stocks, kind of like M1 Financial, Robinhood, like whatever app you use, there's a pie for how your stock portfolio is allocating the funds. And so it's the same thing in the business funding world. And so let's say that we're dividing the pie chart by 25%. This is how they're going to see it. So let's say 25% is for consulting businesses, 25% is for trucking, 25% is for e-commerce businesses, and 25% is for info technology type of businesses. If you have a business that's maybe in construction or in real estate, we left that out. So you'll actually see that they aren't allocating any of their funds, meaning they aren't lending to any of those type of businesses. So it doesn't matter how well you're structured or your business is structured. It doesn't matter how much capital you have flowing through that business. It doesn't matter how well your credit profile is set up. If you're personally guaranteeing, or when you go to personally guarantee for your business to get access to business credit, it's going to get denied. And it's simply because you're outside of who they typically want to work with. So one of the easiest ways that you can combat this is just flat out ask the business banker. Now, we have a couple of different ways that we do it with our inner circle clients, but I'll give you low-hanging fruit, which is something that you can just like take right after you watch this video, which is ask them, hey, over the last quarter, what type of businesses have you guys been funding? What type of businesses have you guys been lending out to? And then they'll tell you these are like the main 15 different industries, and then you'll be able to see if your industry is in there or not. And then you'll make the judgment on whether or not that may be the best bank for you. And I think at that point, the answer would be pretty obvious. Number 3 is a geo restriction. Every bank has what's known as a footprint. And this means that they can only work with businesses inside of said region, so said state, said city, said county. You'll see this happen a lot more with credit unions, where they'll only work with a business if they're within 20 miles of the branch, or if they're within 40 miles of the branch. When you're talking about bigger banks like a Chase or Wells Fargo, as long as the business is within the state, that they typically lend out to, then they'll go ahead and offer you some type of funding product. They'll let you open up a business checking account. They'll let you open up a high yield savings account, like whatever it is that you need at that given moment. But it's all going to be dependent on where your business is located, and then also what type of geo restriction that bank has, meaning are you inside of their parameters? If it's not, you essentially have two options. You either A, have to set up a foreign entity, but you got to be careful with this, because if you set up a foreign entity and if it's not set up correctly, this means that where you domicile, meaning your domestic entity. So if I'm in Florida and there is a financial institution that I want to work with in Texas, but they only work with businesses in Texas, my domicile, so my main domain here is Florida. My foreign entity is going to be Texas. You could open yourself up to Nexus, which means that you'll be taxed in both states if it's not set up correctly. That would be one option. The other option is if you're in that state where they extend capital out to, and like you're just a couple of miles away from them actually working with you, you can simply set up a virtual office address. Again, if it makes sense for you to set that up, if you wanted to kind of bypass having to set up an entire brick and mortar location. Number 4 is, do they report? Meaning, if you're getting access to that business credit card, to that business lines of credit, does it actually report to the credit bureaus? I don't know about you, but anytime I make a payment, like I want to receive credit for it. No pun intended. I want to see, yes, I made this payment on time. This is where my new business balance is. This is how much capital we have, because that sends a signal to the other banks and other financial institutions that you've been responsible with the capital that you've already been given. And then it sets up what's called comparable credit, meaning they're going to use what's already reporting, not just on your personal credit profile, but onto your business credit profile. And now it makes it easier for you to access capital at scale because you have more data that's reporting on your business. So anytime that I'm looking at a bank, or anytime that I'm looking at a financial institution for a client, with a client, I'm looking at, is this financial institution going to report for their industry? If it's not, let's get some wins where we can, because it's going to help us get more funding later on at scale. And then lastly is amount needed. What's the total amount needed to open up a business checking or to open up a business savings? But I want to take it a step further, because some banks and financial institutions, they'll say, hey, we just need $1,000 deposit and you're good to go. I don't just want to stop there. I also want to find out, what's the total amount that I can have in the account without being penalized at the end of each month? Because every bank is going to have their threshold. Some banks are going to say, we only want like no less than 2,500 in here. So no less than 2,500. If you're just starting out, like that would be something that I would want to know. If I don't have 2,500 bucks laying around to dump into a business checking account, I don't want to get penalized just because I don't have the funds. If it's maybe a bit more of a starter, you'll typically see this a bit more when they have intro periods, or when they have like specials that they're running, or even with like smaller banks and credit unions, where they'll say, hey, you can open up an account with as little as 200 bucks. And as long as it doesn't go under 200 bucks, we're not going to penalize you. We're not going to shut your account down. The last thing that you want is for them to shut down your account simply because you let that number go below the threshold that they were looking for. And the other thing that I did want to mention about amount needed is this also helps build your internal log with that business, or I'm sorry, with that bank. So your business actually ends up looking better in the long run. So if you are putting in, let's say $1,000, and you start adding $500 increments every month, and this is just me throwing numbers out, you can add $20,000 if you want, $100,000, whatever makes you happy. But $500 increments every week. The whole point of it is to have cash circulating through that account, because it helps the business look more stable as a whole. If you need help with any of this, setting up your business and installing a simple funding setup directly into it so that you can get access to capital and continue to scale your operations, your payroll, you're reinvesting back into real estate, whatever it is that you're looking to do, let's take a deep dive into your business, see if it's a good fit. If it is, we'll let you know exactly what we can help you do, what the process looks like. Worst case scenario, it doesn't, well, at least leave you with some resources that leaves you better off than how you came in. But other than that, I would at least take what I took, or what I broke down in this video, take it, implement it in your own business, go out there, make some money, and go change some lives. See you on the other side.